Donk, Donk, Donk,
Okay, episode 3 of Potted Donk. So today we're dealing with Harry Potter 3, Prisoner of Azkaban, and probably a bunch of other stuff. Anything you want to say to start off?
Here we go.
Woo! So we thought that the overarching theme of this one is kind of about like family and like Harry Potter's family history and shit, which we just talked about like 2 minutes ago. Sorry, what was that?
Well, just like family generally as well, you know, like
The Weasleys.
Yeah. When, you know, like when everyone's going off to Hogsmeade and he can't go because he doesn't have family to sign his permission slip, you know?
True.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Like, who is his family? Who is my family? Who do I have?
Yeah, he asked Professor McGonagall to go if she can sign it, and she says no because she doesn't love him.
It's so sad. He's just like a little tween, and he's like, oh.
I actually think he's not sad enough, like, as a character.
Yeah, I think that too. I think that all the like trauma of his like upbringing and then everything that happens to him every single year of his like happy life. You know, he's always like, oh, the only home I've ever had is Hogwarts. And it's like, bro, the most fucked up shit has happened to you at Hogwarts. And he's like, I'm so happy. I'm fine. It's fine.
Yeah, like it describes his like reactions to things. Like there's a lot of like his stomach felt like it was filled with lead and like you know,
Yeah.
like feeling like hollow and all this shit. But it doesn't, I don't feel like it really gets to the like how sad it would actually be if you like never had any family and then you kind of like got this thing to finally look forward to and then there's another disappointment and shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like she's like described things about how he might feel about these things, but it hasn't like affected him as a person or his behavior or like the way he thinks about stuff or like anything like that. It's just like these things happened. Whatever.
Though it does come out in other characters a little bit, like how like Snape is a bit more of an accurate representation of like a neglected, traumatized character.
Yeah, I think that too.
And even Malfoy is kind of like spoiled, neglected, and has that kind of like attitude. It's quite accurate.
Yeah, I think his like character arc is one of the more interesting ones in the book, you know?
Yeah, and more realistic.
You know, like, because I've just finished 7. We won't talk about 7, but like right at the end, and the Malfoys have like their change of heart because they're like, actually, we only care about each other. Like, where's my son? You know?
Yeah, there's like that moment where everyone's like finally relaxing and kind of like celebrating / mourning in the Great Hall, and the Malfoys are there like looking around.
I know it says like looking like they aren't sure if they should be there or not, and I can just picture them like, oh, this is awkward.
Yeah.
Lol. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Wait.
A couple of things that we were questioning last time that we said we'd like cover up this time. One was that just after we talked about that and we were like, how does that play out? Then I was reading the 7th one still, and like it was like explained like all these things like really plainly, like that Voldemort would have left the tiara in the thing in
Yeah.
the room of requirement, like when he came to apply for the job or whatever.
Yeah, because it explains that the daughter of the Ravenclaw, person who set it up went and left it in Albania. Which
And then told him about it.
Yeah, lol.
Wasn't there something about like, oh no, it's a different thing. And also that Lucius Malfoy was like a prefect when the parents were inducted or whatever. Sorted.
Yeah. Also, like, in 6, they're going back through all the memories about Voldemort and stuff, and it explains that the trace is on, like, the house or whatever, because, like, Voldemort goes and kills his parents, and it doesn't get picked up because the wizard is there. I actually don't get that because
that's wrong.
It explains it, and he's like, well, how did he get away with that? Because he was underage, and Dumbledore is like, they only pick it up in like muggle areas, if it's in a wizarding house, it's up to the wizard parents to police their children that they're not underage and using magic. But it's like, Voldemort didn't kill his parents at Gaunt's house, did he?
No.
He killed them in their own home, which is a muggle home.
Maybe he tricked them into coming into the Gaunt's house and then killed them and then carried them back by hand. Also, in the 7th one, where they're like all worried about, like Harry's like just about to turn 17 and they're like, no, you can't use it there. But he's at the Weasley's house, so he could probably actually use magic because there's like 50 other wizards there. And also, after that, when they get found, like that first time when the party gets raided and they run away to like a random place and they're in that cafe and they get found there, they're like, maybe it's the trace. So like if the trace was on the house, then how would they use the trace to find Harry Potter there?
I think what I mean is like the traces tracing like muggle residents and like areas, because like I think, doesn't the ministry know when you would like do magic around muggles even if you're overage? I don't know.
But that would be a different trace because the trace is supposed to be on every wizard automatically until they're 17.
Yes, but then she decides in 6 that that's not true.
Right, got it. I think there was one other thing that we weren't sure about.
I've written down a few things. One of the other things is that in 7, Severus explains to Lily that she won't need to know about all the wizarding stuff because someone comes and explains it all. So that is what happens.
Yeah.
Also in 6, Dumbledore explicitly says they've never kept a defense against the dark arts teacher longer than a year since he interviewed for the job.
Huh.
He says it.
All right.
Oh yeah. It also explains more. I think we were talking about Horcruxes and like whether you have to kill someone at the time you are making the Horcrux or not. And that also was explained in 6, where what's his name? Slughorn, lol, says the wizard intent on creating a Horcrux would use the damage to his advantage. So the killing rips the soul, and then you would take advantage of that to make a Horcrux whenever you want.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure it has to be at the time because like Voldemort's killed like hundreds of people. But then when he made Nagini into a Horcrux, he had to kill someone else, and he killed that old man, and he decided to use that out of convenience because he couldn't afford to wait around to kill someone he cared about, like Harry Potter.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what Slughorn explains, you know, that like the damage is done already, but maybe there's like, you know, like a statute of limitations on it.
I don't
You
think that I doubt it. I don't think that I think it has to be done at a time. I don't think he says specifically that you can just do it anytime.
He does. He says killing rips the soul.
Yeah.
But like you would just utilize that damage to make a Horcrux. He doesn't say, you know, like he's not saying you have to kill someone right then to make a Horcrux.
No, but he's not saying that you can just do it whenever you want either.
Well, I disagree.
Anyway,
whatever.
what happens to all the damage to your soul then from all the killing that you're doing that you don't use to turn into a Horcrux?
You like forget about it and your soul just repairs itself. I don't know. I mean, this is what happened last time where we're just asking all these questions that are not explained or answered in the books, you know, like we're just speculating.
But we're also doing what J.K. Rowling didn't do and using our logic to try and piece it into like a coherent system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, 3.
So he blows up his aunt, who's a fucking bitch.
She's crazy. She sucks, eh?
It's hard to imagine that there'd be someone like more horrible than the Dursleys. But I guess she kind of is a Dursley.
Yeah. She is. Right? Yeah. Because she's Vernon's sister. Yeah, there's so much more cool stuff introduced in this book, like the night bus.
I love the night bus. That was like one of the things I was looking forward to most out of the whole series.
Yeah, this is the first book that like I remember reading when I was young and being like, this is so cool. You know, like I think the first and second ones I enjoyed them, but the third one I was like, oh my god, what the fuck?
Yeah, it like takes on a bit more momentum, I think.
Yeah, and I guess because there's all the stuff that's been set up in 1 and 2, and then she's like building onto the world more. It's like a more interesting world as well, I suppose.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of building in it, eh? And Hogsmeade too. Like,
yeah,
it's like,
and I think, yeah.
Oh, like it's like, oh, there's a world outside of Hogwarts and Diagon Alley and the Weasley's house. Slash, like, I'm pretty sure there was no village before 3.
No. Well, I wondered that because they don't talk about it. But do they mention that the train arrives to Hogsmeade Station? Because they mention that later in the later books, but I don't remember them saying it in the first or second books. I mean, she obviously just decides to add shit in and then it's like, it's always been there. We just haven't chatted about it yet, you know?
Yeah.
But this one's got like, I think cooler magic too, you know, like Harry learning the Patronus charm.
Oh yeah.
And it being like an animal representative of you is cool.
One question I had actually about the book, or the title, is like almost everything in the whole wizarding world has either like ridiculous kind of like English nonsense names or Latin. Yeah. Right? But then like Azkaban has this kind of like Arabic kind of like abracadabra kind of name. It's like, where's that coming from?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
She does just like make shit up, you know.
Hey, so if Harry Potter can like inflate his aunt without a wand, like just on the like emotional charge or whatever that's out of his control. Why are wizards not harnessing that?
I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day because it seems so crazy that like all of these kids are doing this magic without meaning to and without like any spells or words. You know, like he's not thinking the word for inflate when he blows her up. So they're all just like naturally able to do this shit. And then they go to school and get like so accustomed to using a wand that then in the later books it's really hard for them to use like non-verbal magic and shit. It's like, why are you making them learn with wands then? Why don't you just like get them doing targeted magic?
I think we've answered our own question. I think that like no, I don't even think, but maybe they actually use the wand in the education to limit magical ability. Because like there's all this stuff about dark arts too. And like how dark arts is kind of this separate world of magic that has some kind of formalization, like it has spells and processes and whatever.
Yeah.
But it also seems like it's also the world of like experimentation and exploration, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like there's like the narrow band of like condoned magic.
Yeah, which is so obvious in the sixth book when Hermione is like terrified of all the shit in the Half-Blood Prince's book and that he's like making up spells. And she's like, no, you know, even in like potions, and they're making the same thing, but there's like edits in his book. And she's like, no, you have to do it the right way. And it's like,
but it's
clearly
better.
not the right way if it's not as good as like things can be updated. That doesn't like, yeah.
There's been thousands of years of magical history, right? Like there's probably better magical history than Muggle history, to be honest. But like both those things, like how is 16-year-old Snape able to like intuit these like additions to the potions that people have been teaching in the same book for years and then are still teaching like 20 years later?
Yeah,
but it hasn't been like incorporated into the textbook. But also the same thing with the like the experimentation or like, you know, doing magic without spells and shit. It's like why has someone not tried that? You know, like why isn't there's obviously people who are trying shit, like Dumbledore's made inventions or like discoveries, you know, with like alchemy and like dragon's blood and blah blah blah. But like I don't know. It's like a bit of a hole.
Yeah, well, I guess it's also like a good way to like control people for the Ministry of Magic, you know, if they're like, well, if nobody knows how to do magic without their wand, and we say if you do these things, we're gonna break your wand, like then they're like stranded without magic, you know?
Yeah, also like if the thing with the wand is that like the magical like material in it like is what you use to enhance your magical ability, right? Like the phoenix feather or like the unicorn hair or whatever, or like all those things. Then there should be like plenty of other ways to make like objects that enhance your magic, probably even ones that are better than a wand, because you could, you know, if it didn't have to fit in your pocket, like you could make like all sorts of like magical enhancing devices. Like you could have a magical t-shirt that was like all made of unicorn hair, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
no, so they do say there's a bit where they explain that you have to use like wand wood to make your wands, which is like there's specific trees that like speak to wand makers and are like, that's wand wood.
but they're just normal fucking trees as well.
Yeah, but they've got like a different vibe, you know.
But anyone could just crack open an elm tree or whatever.
Yeah, but also, you know, I'm not saying that you can't make anything into a magical object. Like you could just make something that is wood and those things that isn't a wand, and surely that would
Do something.
help. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe like the shape of the wand is like your finger, you know, magic there.
Like that Roald Dahl book, The Magic Finger.
I've not read that.
It's like about a girl who has a magic finger and she like just points it at shit and does like weird thing. Like she turns the neighbors into birds or something and like does like it's kind of like all this like mischief.
That sounds good.
The letter didn't come.
Yeah, they just forgot about her. So she just uses her finger.
Yeah, like the Weasleys also, like the Weasley twins also do like heaps of magical experimentation, and they like end up being able to do a whole bunch of stuff that like heaps of people can't do. It's actually like borderline dark magic IMO. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, how are they getting away with that? Like, they're making these things that like make people sick and like that are like should be illegal, given some of the stuff that is illegal.
Yeah.
And then they end up making like that product that's like a defensive spell, like a defensive cloak or something, and then like the ministry's like ordering them in bulk and shit. And it's like, what? So the Weasley twins are like so much higher level than most of the staff at the ministry that like they're able to make objects that are better protection than the ministry's own spell work.
Yeah, well, one of the twins says that when they're like showing everyone those, they're like, you'd be surprised at how many ministry workers like can't cast a simple shield spell. It's like fucking pathetic.
Because the Defense Against the Dark Arts education has been so shit for the last 40 years because they couldn't keep a teacher. And they didn't have Harry Potter to do it in secret.
Yeah, everyone's been let down, eh? I guess Voldemort really did a good one there.
Yeah, no
himself.
Defense Against the Dark Arts. Not just dark arts.
It's just fucking clueless.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like so you know that like the signal to get on the night bus, to hail the night bus is like you raise your wand.
Yeah, you like not even your wand, is it? Isn't it you just you stick your wand hand into the street? Do you have to have your wand in your hand?
I think it's like you raise your wand or something. But like how generic is that? You could be calling it by accident like all day.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be thinking about it because he didn't know about it. He's just like,
you just do this and the bus is fucking there.
Like people are doing that all the time.
Maybe you have to want to get away from something, you know?
Yeah, like the room of requirement. Like you have to be like really desperate to get somewhere or some shit. That would make sense. I'll accept that.
Cool.
Yeah, the night bus is special, eh? Like he's so desperate for somewhere to go, and then he like this place just comes and picks him up. It's like such a relief. And then they've got like a bed and like a mug of cocoa, and it's like all homely and like but a bit shit. Like it's like all the beds are sliding around and shit.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it's such a cool idea that it's just like going through tiny gaps in like the muggle world and nothing is like disturbed by it. I thought that was really cool.
And everything's like jumping out of the way and shit.
Yeah, I kind of thought it's kind of like the cat bus in Totoro.
Yeah.
Which is cute.
Yeah, in the movie though, the stuff it's not the stuff jumping out of the way, it's just like driving down the street and there's like a couple of times where it like maneuvers through, so like it like goes skinny between two buses and shit.
Yeah, it's not as good.
But also the bus like teleports all around the place, right?
Yeah.
But then it also has to like drive on the road but then teleport to the other roads where it's going to drive and do people in order
Yeah.
that they got on.
Because it's like, if it can immediately come to you to pick you up, why do you have to spend any time on it, you know? Apart from, I guess, like a few minutes maybe of like, now we've teleported to the first person.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be there for like a bus journey length time.
No, you wouldn't be there for a cup of cocoa, and you wouldn't need a bed unless you wanted to spend time somewhere.
That's kind of sad.
Also, almost everyone can teleport anyway.
Yeah, I think there's people who don't apparate though.
Yeah.
Which I get. Because like when people get splinched and shit, like I understand why you would be like, ooh.
How does that work, by the way? Because like people are just teleporting all around the place, which is like whatever. But if you've never been somewhere, how do you know to go there? Like, how can you go somewhere that you've never been by teleportation and also not end up half in a wall or like it's kind of like you just hand it over to this like higher intelligence that's gonna put you in the best place, or I don't know.
Yeah. Also, there's like limits to it, you know, like in the 7th book when Voldemort is chasing the wand and he's off in another country, Harry says something about like, oh, it's only a matter of time before Voldemort is close enough to be able to apparate here.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's that then? Like,
yeah,
what are the limits of your apparition and why?
I noticed that too. I mean, maybe it's just a distance.
But if you're teleporting, what is the distance, you know? Like, what is that? What's relevant about that?
Well, like your magic can't like reach the place because your magic, maybe your magic is limited, so it can't stretch across space that far or some shit. I don't know. Maybe there's like borders in the magical world, like.
Yeah. I feel like that was one of those things where like it was not a choice for the world, it was a choice for the convenience of that bit of the book where she's like, I want the stress of Voldemort coming, but not that quickly.
Not yet.
Not quite yet.
We need a little bit of time for him to get a bit closer to the tiara or whatever.
Yeah, fuck.
Is this the first time we had Cornelius Fudge as well, or is that in the second book?
Nah, that's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like exciting. He sucks though.
Yeah, he kind of sucks. Also, he's just like hanging out in the bar when Harry gets there, and he's like, "Oh."
Yeah. I think maybe he's mentioned in the first ones.
Yeah, I think actually Hagrid tells Harry about him when he's first explaining about the whole world or something.
Yeah, right. But you don't Harry hasn't met him.
Don't think so. Doesn't really matter anyway. He's not really like an important character.
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is the one where Harry like spends time alone staying at the Leaky Cauldron. I quite liked that too.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my favorite bits too. Like, I would love to do that.
Yeah, and he's like going to Diagon Alley and like going to the cafes and just like hanging out and shit. It's real cute. I liked that.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun.
I don't see why he couldn't like go to Diagon Alley to hang out like on his like summer break and shit.
I mean, I think like logistically, you know, like he could. I think it's more that like, I don't know, they don't live in London.
No.
Do they?
No, but they go there. Like I think they're not in the city, but I think they're kind of near enough because they like drive to King's Cross Station and shit.
I think in the earlier ones, it'll just be that he, like in the earlier ones, he's not allowed to do anything. They won't let him go anywhere. It's not till the end of this book when he threatens them with his serial killer godfather that he's like allowed to do anything. But yeah, I don't really know why in 4 and 5, especially in 5, like that's the one where no one's talking to him about anything. Wouldn't you just go to Diagon Alley and be like, I'm gonna fucking find out for myself then, fuck you guys.
Yeah, and he knows about the night bus and shit too, so he could get there using his wizard money and shit.
That's true, yeah. He's stupid.
Self-sabotaging.
Yeah. He just wants to be able to complain at his friends and be like, you don't care about me.
Wait, no, this isn't that one. No, 5. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, that's not this one. This one.
So now they get to take electives too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
What do they choose? Divination and
care of magical animal.
Oh, right.
Is that all?
That can't be all, right?
Because he drops both of them anyway, eventually.
I feel like they take another one.
Oh, they take one together, eh? Oh no, they take, and Hermione takes all of them.
Yeah, I loved the time turner shit, eh?
Yeah, it's good.
I think
good
that's
enough.
Cool. I think that's one of those things in this world that she put in this one and then never goes back to again, apart from in the 5th one where they smash all of them apparently in the wizarding world, and then that's the explanation for why no one can use them again. Like, is
it? Well, I mean, they talk about it, but it's also like that they're in the Department of Mysteries, and like, which is like the most off limits secretive place. Like, it's all the secret shit. But then they're like, yeah, we'll give that to a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah, that is crazy. I know. The idea that that's just fine, that she's allowed to manipulate time and is entrusted to like not cross her own timelines and like fuck everything up.
But like,
I guess
there's so much that you could fuck up that's not just your own timelines. And it's also like, it would have been so easy for someone to figure that out, that she's in more than one place at once.
They keep saying throughout the books, I think it's that it must be that not everybody knows that time turners are a thing and that is magic that can be done. Because Ron and Harry, like Ron keeps being like, she's going crazy. She just said she was in this class, but she was in this class with us at that exact time. Like, that bitch is crazy.
But we'll think about that later. We're not gonna think about it too much right now.
Ridiculous. I guess that's one of Ron's many moments of like maybe getting a little bit close to something, but then not getting the whole way. Like,
oh yeah, that whole drama with Buckbeak and shit, which ends up being like one of the major arcs of that book. Like Hermione like studying all the law and trying to help Hagrid with the case, and then like the people coming from the ministry to execute Buckbeak and shit. It's like, come on. Like, obviously Malfoy was being a little shit, didn't follow the instructions, and like brought it upon himself. It was like by no means the animal's fault. And also like there must be a solution that's not just killing that one hippogriff.
I mean, yeah, it's just absurd. It's just like so dumb.
And everyone knows that like Madame Pomfrey would have fixed it fine. Like, where are the people stepping in to be like, what are you talking about? You know, like that's not how the world, that's not how shit works. Like we know that you can just heal that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's the fear of Malfoy, you know? Like he's under everyone's thumb. I mean, Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's ridiculous because everyone is like, there's no way, you know, like he's still complaining. What does Snape like make Harry do all this shit for him in potions? Because he's like, my arm, sir. It's like, you're fine, bro.
Fuck off, bro.
Yeah, Dementors for the first time.
Yeah. Bunch of
pretty,
question marks about them.
Pretty like main guys. The whole rest of the thing.
Yeah, you know that like muggles can't see Dementors.
Yes.
That's fine. I can handle that, you know, like they're kind of just like spirits or whatever, you know, like agglomerations of negative energy or whatever, and like you have to have magical ability to see them. That's fair enough. But like what about like all these other magical animals and shit that are supposedly just like around in the wild and shit? Like I doubt that the Ministry of Magic, which is a small, you know, it's not a whole government, it's just a branch of the English government theoretically. Like has a handle on all the hippogriffs and all the dragons and all the like whatever they're called, like Grindylows and shit or whatever. Like
yeah, when like there's mer people, you know, like
they're intelligent though.
I know, but like surely someone's, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. Maybe it's just how other, you know, like other worlds of magic explain it by humans are like unwilling to believe what they saw, you know. There's unicorns.
Yeah, well, I guess there's like a lot of, even like we've got like legends about like sightings of the Loch Ness monster and Bigfoot and like UFOs and blah blah blah. So I guess, I mean, some of it could fall into that, but there's so much. Like there's like a whole nother world's worth of breeds of animal that fall under this magic, like magic animals category.
Yeah, but also then like can animals, like normal animals, see those magical animals?
I imagine.
And if not, but then like what's an owl? You know? Like they're magical, right? Because they know how to find anyone anywhere.
Yeah, they can read tags on parcels that are already strapped to their legs. Like they put the tag on the parcel and they don't even say to the owl.
Well, but they do sometimes. They also speak English because there's one where Harry says to Hedwig, I know it says Snuffles, but this is for Sirius. It's like...
Yeah, but like I think a lot of the time they just tie the tag on and it's got their name written on the envelope or whatever, and they just throw them out the window. And they're like owls that they don't even know. Like he goes to the owlery and just uses random owls, and he's like, "All right, here you go."
Oh my god.
You know,
so bizarre.
Yeah. You know, Sirius. Oh, sorry. Did you say something? You cut up.
No, it's just the internet has just gone a bit red and
for
yellow.
Me?
Well, it's next to your name, but then I don't really know, you know. Now it's white again.
Okay. We'll just live with that. Oh yeah, we haven't actually talked about Sirius Black yet, who's like actually kind of the main focus of the book. But you know that he buys Harry that firebolt.
Yeah.
And like it's like addressed to him. It's like ordered in his name, but for the money to come out of Sirius's bank account.
Yeah, that is so stupid. When I read that, I was like, Wait.
He's just like allowed to tap his savings when he's like the number one most wanted guy.
But also no one is like, oh, I don't know, why is this guy who's supposedly trying to kill this kid sending him a broomstick as well?
Well, they are, because they're like, well, they're not, but they're like, it could be from Sirius Black, so we're going to check everything about it. So they're at least checking it because they're like, it could be a trap.
I mean, like someone, like someone has fulfilled the order for that broomstick. That's
the Firebolt Corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not like, well, firstly, I mean, I guess it could be like fair enough that he's trying to buy a broom. But yeah, he's buying it for Harry.
Yeah.
But like, why are they not like telling the ministry before they even try and fulfill the order? Like, hey, I think Sirius Black's ordering like, or Harry Potter's ordering a broomstick from us from Sirius Black's bank account.
Yeah, that's like poor fraud practices, like
if it was that easy to fraud Gringotts, like people would have been like stealing Sirius's money the whole time he was in Azkaban.
Yeah, it would be like the news comes out of someone being arrested and everyone's like, oh, what should I buy with their money?
Yeah, because like Gringotts is notoriously hard to break into or impossible, even though they do end up doing it like quite easily in the last one.
I know. I don't want to talk about it, a few books ahead, but they're like, it's impossible. And then just don't have a hard time. Like, it's not impossible if someone can just walk in and like can fund an Imperius curse a few people and get whatever they want.
Yeah, well, also someone broke into it, and Quirrell broke into it in the first one.
Yeah.
How the fuck did he do that? He's not even a particularly good wizard.
No, I don't know. And he didn't like, he didn't break out on a dragon either.
Nah, he was, and it was in that room that like, oh, sorry, say that again.
He wasn't so like obvious in it. He seemed to do quite a good job.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be like the room that it was like didn't even have a door. Like you had to touch it and dissolve it and be a Gringotts goblin to do that.
Yeah.
And anyone else who touches it would be sucked inside for the eternity or whatever.
Cool.
That's what they say about it. But
yeah.
Or maybe Voldemort on the back of his head could like kind of doubt it though.
He hasn't got a body. He can't even do magic then, right?
Yeah, and actually I think he wasn't even attached to Quirrell's head then either.
Yeah.
He says later on that like he was just controlling Quirrell from a distance, but then he had to like keep a closer eye on him because he kept fucking up.
Yeah. Idiot Quirrell.
Hey, I know we're backtracking to number 1 now, but we probably like missed a few things anyway. But there's a thing where like Snape gets fucked up by Fluffy, right? And then they're like, oh, he's definitely trying to steal the thing because he got fucked up by Fluffy.
Yeah.
Why can't he just get his leg healed by Madame Pomfrey and then he's fine? He's like got a fucked up leg for ages.
Yeah. I don't know.
But then Malfoy gets fucked up by the hippogriff and he's fine, but he's pretending to not be fine.
Yeah. I mean, arguably, it's one of those things like, the Talon is just like a Talon. But if he was bitten by the dog, like in 5, and
Cursed
Arthur
wounds.
gets attacked by the snake and he can't heal, that no one can heal the wounds because of something in the snake bite, whatever.
Yeah, and like werewolf attacks and shit are cursed, so like they can't be healed and shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's an explanation.
Yes, I don't think Fluffy is demonic though. Like, I don't think he's cursed. I think he's just big.
I don't know. He's got 3 heads.
He does have 3 heads.
be like, I always just imagined that he was like Cerberus related,
Yeah.
like, so then he would be demonic.
Is Cerberus demonic?
Well, he's an underworld guy.
In Greece, but this is England, bro.
I've not thought about that, but
Also, like in terms of the like mythology of Harry Potter, which is kind of lacking, they don't have like gods and shit. So obviously they're like re-explaining everything that they appropriate from other mythologies in terms of this kind of like more or less material reality with magic. So it's like it must just be like either a breed of dog that has 3 heads, which would kind of be fucked up and hard to explain, or something that someone had created out of a dog or 3 dogs or whatever.
yeah.
But that's not, I don't think that would be cursed. It doesn't seem like a cursed kind of a thing. It seems like a kind of more just like a dangerous kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Why not?
I don't.
Um,
Get back. Oh. The Marauders map.
yes.
So cool.
And also like the kind of like fleshing out of the backstory of Harry's dad and like his time at school. There's like a bit more reality to the fact that his parents were at the school and that's where he is now.
Yeah, that like connection between them. It's also just like that, and the fact that they made themselves an anime guy at school. Like, fuck.
Well, they do say though, like later on, like in the 5th one, that like James Potter and Sirius were kind of like brilliant, like, and that they were the best at everything they did. So like it's a little bit feasible that they could crack that. If Voldemort can make a Horcrux when he's 16 or 17 or whatever, I think like.
Yeah, I guess so.
But how do they get Peter Pettigrew to be able to do it?
I think they just like almost do it for him,
How?
I don't know, because there's no explanation of how you become an animagus. Animagus or animagus?
Magus, I think. Magus, Animagus. I don't know.
Animal magician.
Don't ask me. It was kind of just like transfiguration, right? Like that's why McGonagall is good at it, because she's like a transfiguration master. But it's like a higher level or something.
Yeah, well, she says in one of them, or Hermione says that like transfiguring a human is the hardest thing type of transfiguration there is.
Yeah, well, what's the difference between like, oh, I just thought of a few more questions to cover, but between like humans transfiguration and like being an animagus, because it's like in the 4th one, Crumb transforms his head into a shark or whatever, and so like that's obviously possible, but like
yeah, that's a question, eh?
And you kind of have to have a wand to do it, right?
Well, maybe no. Maybe that's what makes it different from the shark spell.
Maybe, but in the 3rd one, there's a whole thing about, I'm pretty sure it's in the book too, but it's definitely in the movie, where like Peter Pettigrew escapes by transforming because he steals one of their wands.
Oh.
But Sirius is doing it in Azkaban, presumably without a wand, but then he has a wand, right? He has his wand when he comes back, right?
Does he? Doesn't he take Ron's wand?
Maybe, and it backfires or something.
Oh, I don't know now.
No, Ron's wand is better by then anyway.
Yeah, he's got a new wand in this one. But I don't know. But even if you have to have a wand when you transform it into the animal, what does that mean? Like, what happens to your wand when you transform? Does it somehow stay with you? Because also, like, obviously these people are transforming while they're like clothed, and then when they transform back into humans, they are in the same clothes.
This is a question I have about a range of fantasy and like superhero stories. Is like, what's the logistics with that? It's explained in some things, like
Twilight. It's perfectly explained in Twilight.
is
Where
it?
the wolves, because there's that bit where Jacob goes to explain to Charlie that he's a werewolf and he starts taking all his clothes off, and Charlie is like, what the fuck are you doing?
But the wolves aren't wearing shorts, are they?
When they're wolves,
They're not wearing pants, right?
no.
But there's a whole thing in the movies where like they're always wearing ripped off jeans, and someone made the joke that like they're like a pack of never nudes.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Nah, in the books, I don't know if it's like explained in the movies, but in the books, it's like they're naked and they stash like clothes all around all the forests so that they can,
Well, in Harry Potter, they're using magic, so it's kind of like more or less feasible that they just transform the clothes with them into a.
yeah.
They come with you when you what's it called? Disapparate and shit.
Yes. More, my question is if your wand is in your hand
Yes.
like if you have to have it in your hand to transform yourself into your animagus, what happens then? And then also, how do you then transform back into a human if you have to have a wand, but I don't know. But also then, in 4, when it's like Crumb tries to transform himself into a shark, but he does a bad job, he only does his head. What was he planning to do magically? Was he just like, I just won't use any magic, I'll just be a shark and see how I go? Like,
I think
that's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's viable. No, I think he was only trying to do his head.
Nah, someone definitely says he he did a bad job and only did his head.
I thought maybe he just in the movie.
No, in the book. In the movie, I think it seems like he tried to just do his head so he can breathe underwater. Like,
yeah, because they don't want to add detail.
No.
I kind of thought maybe he was just trying to do his head, and he did that badly too. Yeah, because he wouldn't be able to use spells and shit. But also, without changing his feet into flippers and shit, he would also find it really hard to swim that far and deep.
Yes. Yeah.
Same with the bubblehead charm.
Yes. I mean, Harry's one is the best one. He's just the best.
Anyway, we're not talking about 4 now.
No. Not talking about other books.
Yeah, the whole story about him finding out about how his parents got betrayed and shit is also pretty gripping. Like, he thinks it's serious, but then it's not. But like that whole thing, like there's a lot of like raw emotion in there about how like it's even worse because they were betrayed by like his best friend or whatever.
Yeah, I know. It really adds to the tragedy. It's not just that like Voldemort found them and killed them. It's that, they were totally betrayed and then murdered.
It's quite artful, actually, how that story unfolds over time, whether or not it was intentional. It's like you know, even in the last book, we're still getting like more details about how it happened and why it happened and shit, which is like pretty good.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah,
it's never done, eh? You
what's
keep
that?
finding it's never done, you know, like you find out more and more. I
Mm.
guess it's like, you know, the older he gets, the more they trust him to be able to understand everything.
Mm. And he's still angry with Dumbledore for not telling him everything in the last couple of books. But like, was it you who said the thing about like, why couldn't they just be their own secret keepers for the Fidelius charm?
No, but that's a really good question.
Because in the last one, Charlie is the secret keeper for their house.
Bill.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense in retrospect, eh?
That's leaving them wide open for betrayal.
Yeah, when if you're like going into hiding, wouldn't you just be the three of you and not tell anyone else at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Well,
Yep. Too late now.
Yeah. That's long gone.
I guess she was already working back from the fact that they had already died, so she couldn't really make it too impossible to find them.
Yeah, that's true.
But I thought that for the Philosopher's Stone too, like why didn't they just put it in a box with a Fidelius charm on it and Dumbledore's the secret keeper?
Yeah, I guess she hadn't. Oh no. No. In the first one, she probably hadn't thought of the Fidelius charm. You know? That magic wasn't around then.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the third one's probably got the best mix of like homely Wizarding World Hogwarts stuff. You know, like the really like nice atmosphere of like him finding belonging and finally having like friends and whatever. And the more like unfolding the overarching plot more, you know? Like the later one's kind of too much plot and not enough Harry Potter. Not enough like Hogwarts and not enough like kind of I really like the school vibe, like the magic school vibe and like the atmospheres that are in there and shit.
Yeah, same. Like all the divination classes, you know, and they're like described in so much detail, like the smell of the room with like her incense and shit like that, and like the shawls over all the lamps and stuff. Like it's such a like vivid room. And like
it's funny because like that's kind of like stereotypes of like a muggle fortune teller.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's just like adding to like I don't know, the falseness of her seerness, you know?
Yeah.
Which
Which is
like so cliche.
Yeah. And it is mostly false.
Yeah.
Why do they even choose magical animals and divination in the first place? Like, neither of them seem like that. Well, Ron, I could probably see like doing something with magical animals because he's like not very smart and shit. But like, there's like, firstly, there's not very many options because like Hermione takes them all and like, so there can't be that many. But also like, they're all pretty shit. There's like arithmancy, which is kind of like numerology and shit and like real technical magic, right? And then there's like muggle studies, which is just fucking boring.
Sounds stupid.
And then there's the ones that they take. What else even is there? There's like
ancient runes.
Oh yeah.
Which I think sounds cool. And and then the 2 they take. It says, it does explain, it's either at the end of the second one or the beginning of the third one when they're choosing their electives, that Harry is like, I don't know what to do, so I'll just do what Ron does. Like,
Yeah, because he doesn't know enough about the magic world and shit.
yeah, which seems really like, I don't know, poor schooling to let children who have not had any sort of magical upbringing, like to just give them a list of subjects and be like, what do you want to do? And not have any sort of conversation about what they are.
That's what happens in the real world too, bro.
No, but like, you know, you are raised in the real world and then given like
but
a
you
list.
don't know anything about it when you're 12. Like, you don't know what it actually means to have a job, or like what the makeup of society is actually about, or like, you don't really know what the things you're doing relate to when you choose them. You just choose them like whether or not like you've enjoyed them before, which is probably heavily influenced by who taught them. Lol.
Yeah.
But like, why isn't there anything like there's so many things that people do in the magic world that couldn't really arise out of any of those subjects.
Yeah, one, just like all the stuff about wand lore was so interesting and cool, and it's like, why isn't that something, or
Yeah,
like a
like
part of the project or something?
yeah, like a magical objects class.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, magical um
Items,
you know,
devices.
yeah, devices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. That's
I
what
don't
I
know.
would have.
Yeah. If I were running a magical school.
Also, there's like a flying class that they just have like once, and there's a flying teacher, but you never hear about that class again.
The only thing she does is teach first years how to fly,
Once.
and then to ref the Quidditch games, but also not even all of them. Like,
Yeah, sometimes Snape takes over.
yeah, it's just, what's Madam Hooch? What is she up to?
Yeah, like, I mean, assumably they had more than one flying lesson.
Yeah. But it's not like all the years are doing them.
Nah.
You know?
But they probably should be, because like not everyone's a natural like Harry. Hermione's shit at it.
Yeah. What else don't they do? There's heaps of shit.
Anyway.
Yeah, because they don't even know that Hagrid's the teacher.
Nah.
When they decide to do care of magical creatures.
Nah, so it wasn't that. I think Ron probably just chose the ones that seemed easiest.
Yeah.
But there seems to be quite a severe lack of like options for different skill types.
Yeah, what else would there be though,
Well, I don't really know, but like there's a lot of magic that seems to have much more technical shit going on, and it's like, where the fuck would you learn that?
Yeah. Because there's no mention of any like post-school education or anything.
No, it says to become an aura, you have to undertake training. So maybe there's like a lot of apprenticeship or something.
Yeah.
That would make sense. That would be fair enough. But then like this, yeah, I mean, because our world is like that too. The options that are available are like pretty lacking.
Yeah. At schooling.
What do they spend most of the time doing in this book though? Like, I guess they've got the classes and they're kind of like trying to figure out about what are they even what's the mystery that they're following? I guess they're like trying to stop Buckbeak from getting killed.
Yeah. And there's also like, because I was just thinking that. I was like, all the serious stuff doesn't even happen till like the very end. But then he's trying to like he breaks into the school quite early, like in the first half of the book. And I think for Harry, his personal journey in this book is like all the stuff about how he feels so like weak and weaker than everyone else because he fainted when the Dementors came on the train.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's like, I'm not having that again. So he's learning how to do a Patronus.
And that kind of leads him to being the best at defense against the dark arts, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dementor stuff is really big, and it's kind of like affecting it everywhere. Like it affects like going to Hogsmeade, and like it affects the Quidditch games and stuff, and like everyone's laughing at him about it.
Can you just hold on 1 second? The dog is barking in the other room, and I don't know why.
Okay.
Idiot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. One more thing about Dementors is like, are they animals or are they like spirits? And like, how do they breed? Or like, how do they like?
Well, it says, in 7, it says that they're like proliferating because the mood is right or whatever,
Yeah.
Well, I just kind of assumed they like appear when like the environment allows it.
Yeah, like bacteria kind of.
Yeah, but then they breathe, so they've got to be like alive, right?
Yes.
Because he always talks about their like horrible rattling breath.
And they do have a physical form because they've got hands.
Yeah.
Scabby, manky, like clammy hands.
Gross.
Yeah, like
Well,
are there like
there's something where their head would be that is how they kiss people,
Yeah, they've got a face too, because I think he's seen them take the hood off.
Yeah, I don't know what they are though.
Are there baby Death Eaters? I mean, not Death Eaters, Dementors.
Yeah, it's a good question. How much they're in the books as well, it's really like talked about what they are. Like, where's the education about that, Like, surely they're a magical creature, right?
They're not a magical creature that you care for, though.
No,
that's defense against the dark arts, though.
Why is the course care of magical creatures, not just magical creatures?
Because you only want to care for the nice ones, and then the other ones fall into defense against the dark arts, and so you just fight them.
Yeah, I guess. But then if defense against the, they're not giving you information about what it is, are they?
No.
Just, here's how you defeat it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's kind of, then we get to that last kind of main bit where they're like rushing around without Ron, actually. He's not really, doesn't really get the action this time because he gets, what has happened to him? He got fucked up.
Sirius fucks him up.
Does he?
Yeah, because he has Peter
Oh,
Pettigrew.
Yeah.
Sirius like gets him by the leg and then pulls him. It's actually really gross because he pulls him into the Weeping Willow and Harry's like, I heard like a sickening snap as he like, you know, he like tries to hold on to a branch or something, and it's like, ooh, that's gross. But yeah, he's really like out for it.
So he does get some action, but then like it's kind of like, yeah, actually that whole bit is like pretty well done, I think. That bit where like they go into the shrieking shack and there's that whole confrontation and it all comes out that Sirius isn't actually evil and like all that shit.
Yeah. I think it's really well written as well, because I don't know, it's just, it takes ages for it to come out, you know, like they're there with Sirius. He's like, you killed my parents, and he's like, yeah, I did. And then later he's like, oh, actually what I mean is,
also everyone just believed that Sirius did it, and it's like, hold up, bro. Like, if I mean, say we had friends that were like that tight, and like everyone knew them, like they were so tight, like brothers, you know, like there must have been like 100 people who were like, there is no way that he did that. There must be something else going on. And like, why is no one like, why isn't he saying like, yeah, Peter Pettigrew is actually in like an animagus and like that's how he did it, you know?
Doesn't he get sent to Azkaban without a trial?
Maybe.
Because there's like so many eyewitnesses to it or whatever.
Yeah, but wouldn't you find out from the eyewitnesses at the trial?
No, the cops just talk to them and they're like, send that guy to Azkaban.
Because like they were kind of like famous or like well known in the wizarding community, which seems to have like quite a strong and small in group, by the way, and then like probably hundreds of other people who just no one's ever heard of.
Yes. Yeah, surely there would be way more question of that, eh? Because also, I don't know, that is so insulting, eh? Like,
what?
They all just are like, fuck, serious, that sucks, why'd you do that, you know? No one's like, you know, Lupin even, who is like the third to their group, is just like, oh my god,
dude.
what a dick.
Well, I guess Peter Pettigrew is gone too, so like that's kind of quite good evidence.
Yeah, when there's stuff, they say stuff about when it happened, and you know that Sirius, I guess they do kind of explain that they all think Sirius went mad because they took him away like cackling like a madman, you know? And he's laughing because he's like, fuck, Peter just like really bested me and how this looks.
Yeah, and people heard him saying like some shit like that he killed him or something at the scene. Anyway, whatever. And yeah, like all that shit coming out about Scabbers as well is like, whoa.
I know. There's that bit where is it one of them is like, is it normal for a rat to live that long? And it's like, oh
yeah, when they go to buy Crookshanks, who actually turns out to be like a magical like demon hunting cat.
Yeah.
Which is like, Crookshanks actually ends up being just like a nice normal cat, right? But like I think they kind of make it out maybe in the movies or maybe just in that book that like Crookshanks is like aggressive or something.
Well, I think it's just because Crookshanks keeps trying to attack Scabbers.
Yeah.
But I guess in the movie, actually, I don't remember about in the book, but like in the movie, Crookshanks immediately is like, I want to kill that rat. Yeah. But like in the book, you know, Crookshanks and Sirius are talking to each other. Yeah. And he like explains everything. I also think it's so funny that the whole reason it happens is because there's that like photo of Ron and his family. And
yeah.
Sirius is like, oh my god.
That is quite a stretch though, right? Like a rat with, I mean, I guess maybe he recognized that rat because it's like,
yeah,
he's seen that rat so many times, but also it's kind of like, it could be any rat that just happens to have 2 toes, and it must be so small to try and see in the photo.
I know. It's like a group photo, right? Of like 8 people or 9 people with one rat. It's like, oh my fucking god.
I guess he's been obsessing about it for 10 years though.
Yeah, I suppose. Funny though, quite a like, convenient happening.
Yeah, and there's all that stuff about how like Scab is starting to get really restless and like really like running away all the time and shit, and like they all think it's because he's trying to run away from Crookshanks, but he's actually trying to run away because he knows Sirius is coming. That shit is like, it's so well done, like the tension there.
Yeah, and he's like losing his hair, and Ron goes to get him that like medicine and stuff, and it's actually because everyone's talking about Sirius getting out, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, and he would have been like surviving on rat food for like 12 years or whatever.
Yeah, that's really gross. I think that was well done in the movie. I can't remember how it happens in the book, but in the movie, like he's really got all the mannerisms of a rat when he becomes a human.
Yeah, well, I kind of thought... Sorry, what was that?
That was really well done. Because if you've been a rat for however many years, what, like 13, 12 years or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he was already enough like a rat that was really easy for him to become an animagus, even though he was a shit wizard.
Yeah. Actually, just like only one step away from rat anyway.
Just one.
But I guess, like, your animagus must be tied to your personality, right? Which is part of why it's different. Because, like, James is actually, well, I guess, I mean, he's a, stag, and so is his Patronus.
Yeah, well, maybe that's kind of a difference with Transfiguration, is that it's like more of a deep kind of like spirit animal kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because like,
yeah, you could transfigure yourself into anything, but that's like your thing.
Yeah, and like Harry's Patronus is a stag, even though he didn't know that his dad was a stag.
Yes.
And I think it's implied that Lily's is a doe, eh?
It's not implied, it's said explicitly.
Oh, when?
Yes. In the 7th one, when, maybe it's not like super explicit, but no, it is, because Snape does his Patronus for Dumbledore. And he's like...
That's Snape's Patronus, though.
Yeah.
It's implied. Like... That's called implied, bro.
No. Then Dumbledore says, that's the same as Lily's Patronus.
You know, that's exactly the kind of thing Dumbledore would say. You know, when I reread the 7th one, I didn't remember any of that. I was like, who's doing the Patronus?
It took me ages to remember. I was like reading it and I was like, fuck, I know that someone integral to this whole thing is doing the Patronus. It was ages before I was like, it's Snape, that sneaky bitch.
Oh yeah, I loved how outraged Snape is at the end. Like he's so happy that he's found Sirius. He's like, yes, this is like, it's like made his life worth living that he could catch Sirius trying to get into the castle and shit. And then when he gets away, he's just like explodes.
This is the worst day of my life.
But it's so funny too, because like he obviously seems like fucking crazy. He's like, Harry Potter did it! And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He is so crazy. His like vendetta against this child is so funny. The longer it goes on, like through the books, he's like, it's Harry. It's like, well,
I kind of don't get it as well. I mean, like obviously I get it, but it's like his like reason for living is kind of like to you know, repent for like basically being the reason that Lily died.
Yeah.
And even though like Harry's like the only lasting connection with Lily, he doesn't try and get over his hatred of James or like the fact that Harry looks like James and shit. He's never like, there's no balance with like him like needing to connect with this child who's like the like last piece of Lily or whatever.
Yeah, his feelings towards James are like so much stronger than his feelings towards Lily.
Maybe he actually just wanted her out of jealousy.
He just wanted James but didn't know how to like admit that to anyone. Oh, one other thing, just to go way back to when we were talking about questions from last time. That James and Lily died when they were 21. So
No.
they would, yeah.
Does it say that?
When they go to the graves of them, it says their birth dates and their death dates.
Oh.
Which
Yeah,
makes
it does.
sense. That makes sense because then that makes everyone now like mid to late 30s. And they say Lucius Malfoy's age, and he's like late 40s in the first one. I mean, late 30s, sorry. So if he's like a few years older than them, that does make sense.
I thought he was in his 40s in the first one.
I think in the second one, they say he's 41. So I guess he was 40 in the first one.
But that would make him like 6 years older than them or something. Or 10. That would make them like 8 years older than them or something. Because like they would be 31 when Harry starts school, right? So the second one, they would be 32. Then there'd be 9 years apart. Fuck, my maths is not good today. But he's supposed to be like, say, like a 5th year when they're first year. So like he should only be like 4 years older than them or whatever.
James Potter, born 27th March 1960, died 31st October 1981. Lily Potter, 60 to 81.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did Malfoy come to school late because he was like dumb or something?
He got his letter at like 40.
His family thought he was a squib. That's why he's so bitter.
Yeah.
He's had to work so hard for the like pure blood status and shit.
Oh fuck.
Oh yeah, there's a bit where like Harry's like heard about Peter Pettigrew, but he hasn't seen him yet, and he's like in his head he's imagining he looks like Neville.
Poor Neville.
Well, he ends up being like a gangster.
Yeah.
And even his grandma's proud of him.
Cool in the 7th one, eh? He really like comes into his own once the like cool boys of his Gryffindor year leave.
But then he ends up being the herbology teacher, right?
Yes.
So he kind of just actually never changed.
No, he had his like exciting year and he was like, fuck, that was enough of that.
Well, there's no more evil anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there is.
Well, for Harry to have ended up being an aura, there must be.
Yeah, someone's taking up that mantle.
Yeah. They were coming over from Germany and shit.
That's so funny.
Yeah. That's probably about it.
I think this one just made me, it's so sad when like everything comes out and Sirius is like really awkwardly presenting the idea to Harry that he comes to live with him and then it all like gets taken away. That was just so sad.
Yeah, and then it gets taken away for good again later.
It's so fucked up, eh?
It is actually. It's kind of like, come on, JK. Like, can't you like give us something?
I know. And it just keeps happening, eh? Because then, like, you know, after he dies, Lupin's kind of more there for Harry, and then he fucking dies, and it's like, it's just
Yeah.
so. She's like, you can't have anything.
Yeah. Yeah. At least they get to have some letters with each other
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Yeah. 1 year even.
No, it's 2.
I know, but like in the 5th one, their owls are being watched and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So like they have a couple letters that are like super coded. I guess they see him in the 5th one. They go and visit him in the cave. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I also think the time slip thing is like not too bad as far as like plot holes can go. Like I think she didn't really fuck anything up there.
Do you remember the ages?
Oh no, the time turner thing. Like
Oh, the time.
that
Yeah.
whole part of the story where they go back and they're watching everything again and shit. Apart from the like basic problems with time travel in general.
I liked that bit.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
I think it might be my favorite book out of the series.
Yeah, it's definitely. I didn't think like in going in to reread them all, I was like the 4th one I remembered being my favorite. And then I didn't find that this time. I think the 3rd one is the first one that I really love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um
But the 4th one is already starting to get a bit too wrapped up in the like drama. The 3rd one is like the last one where it's still kind of about the school, the life at the school and shit.
yes.
But the 4th one is like so like the Triwizard tournament is so intense that like most of the story focuses on that, you know?
Yes, I think that too. When I reread it now, I was like, fuck, actually, so much of the stuff that I love about reading about Hogwarts, like the classes and the Quidditch and shit like that, like all of that is gone. And it's like a lot about the thing. The
Yeah.
tournament.
Which I guess is fair enough, but it's like, huh.
I think when I like in rereading them this time, I really loved the 6th one. And I think that's why is like you have the 4th one where all this really different shit is going on and it's fun and whatever, and then the 5th one where like they're still just kind of at school but it's all fucked up by Umbridge, and then the 6th one you go back to like Dumbledore's headmaster, they're in classes, not a whole lot is going on, like Harry's just like obsessed with Malfoy and his potions book and like his classes with Dumbledore. I think
there's like a lot more focus on the classes and like mystery surrounding the school too because of the book, the textbook, the Half-Blood Prince book. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just right at the end that it starts to get fucked up again.
Yeah. I felt, anyway, reading the 5th one, like I really felt the foreboding of like Sirius's death the whole way through it. But the 6th one, I don't know, it gets to the end. You know, I feel like when I was reading it, the whole way through is like building up to him going out with Dumbledore on this mission. And then I got to the mission, and then as they're leaving, realized that like they come back and then all this shit happens. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
fuck, bro. Yeah. Back to 3, I think I cried when he gets like his note from Sirius that says, "Here's my permission to go to Hogsmeade."
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
And when he goes back to the Dursleys and he says, like, "You can't tell me what, if I'm not happy, I'm going to tell my mass murderer godfather." And they're like, "Oh my God."
Oh my
It's
god.
such like a win for him after that, like, tragedy of having to go back to them. It's like, oh, at least he gets something, I suppose.
Yeah. It does slowly come along, but then like everything else in the whole world gets more and more tragic. So
Yeah. Yeah.
cool. I think that's pretty much it, eh?
I think so. I don't really.
I might even read the third one again just for the enjoyment of the school life.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think it's the like epitome of them just like having fun at school, you know?
I think it might be the epitome of Harry Potter.
Yeah. Might be right.
Like the first two are kind of building up, and then like the last four are like just like borderline too tragic.
Brutal.
Yeah,
Like very few moments of happiness.
but we'll come to that.
We will.
Yeah.
Next time.
Stay tuned for more Potter Donk. Potter Bunk.
Potter bonk.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
See everyone next time.
Thanks for coming.
Talk to you soon. Bye.